What is up, guys? Green Greninja here again, back with Advance Wars Story. I want to do another unit review today, and this time we're going to be looking at the Destroyer's older brother, the King of the Seas. It's the Dreadnought. Now, this thing is an absolute behemoth on the water. I liken it to a Neo tank that floats. It's a wonderful piece of equipment right here. This thing does massive damage to anything it touches. Direct combat only. And, yeah, let's get right into it. So, this thing is much like the Destroyer in many ways. It's a ship. It, travels, Oh, okay, so this actually has one less movement than the Destroyer to balance it out. So, I guess, in that way, it's like a medium tank. It, loses 1 point of movement. And, also, I believe it loses 1 point of vision. Let's see, the Destroyer had, 3 points of movement, 3 points of vision, and 6 move, whereas the Dreadnought has 2 vision and 5 move. Still 9 shots, though, so this thing will definitely not run out of ammo, and if it does, this thing's probably earned some value. So, why is this thing good? Well, actually, let's look at its cost first. So this thing is 25,000 funds. Very expensive, and the most expensive naval unit after all the rebalancing that this romhack did. Again, the rebalancing, I'm a big fan of it. Makes naval combat actually accessible and good, dare I say. But 25,000 funds after the rebalance? This thing better be good, right? This thing's gotta be freaking strong in order to justify a price tag of that. Like, even the, the Neo tank got, a price nerf also. It's 24,000, so... But that thing's on ground. Like, you use that thing all the time, so... Well, at least when you have high funds, so... Why is this thing gonna justify 25,000? Well, I think this is where we need to start getting into the damage numbers. So we have a few scenarios set up right here to showcase just how powerful this thing is. Let's begin. So, the Destroyer, I'm pretty sure, did 90 base damage to infantry. And like I'm going to say this again, I have powers turned off, so any, damage buffs or nerfs given by the COs I'm using here do not apply. So yeah, the firepower of the Destroyer did 90 base damage to infantry. Let's take a look at this. I think we doubled it. That's 180%. Pretty devastating. Oh yeah, and the animations here are not quite lining up with what you'd think. Because it is a modded unit. This does not exist in the base game. And I don't know anything about coding animations or sprites into Advance Wars with custom units, so I'm going to cut the developer, the creator of this romhack, I believe Platinum Skink, some slack on that front, but I will be turning animations off for this showcase because it makes really no sense to have them on. Let's see. So the mech takes 5% less damage. Oh, that's gonna matter so much when you're already dying 2 times over, basically. The recon, if you find it on a shoreline, yeah, that thing's taking just as much as infantry. Gonzo. Terrain is not gonna save you from that hit. Tanks, 150%! Terrain is not gonna save you! Oh my goodness! Medium tanks. Now, these guys have some big armor, right? They should be able to survive. Only if they have really good terrain, like, oh my goodness, 105%? This thing is gonna get insta-killed on roads, insta-killed on bridges, insta-killed on shores, which is most of the time where you're gonna find these units on the coast that you can just attack. 105%? You're instantly earning yourself, like 2/3 your value if you hit that. And a Neo tank, you'll earn yourself in if you hit a Neo tank. 75%. That's huge damage. And you take nothing back. Your armor just says no. I don't care about the Neo tank's weakened shot, granted, but still, you'd think you take like 1 back. That's a Neo tank hitting you. Nope, you don't care. This thing is insane. Firepower is cranked up to 1,000,000. APCs, dead. Artillery, dead. Rockets, Oh, super dead. 195. That's almost 200. Oh my god. Missiles. Dead. Anti-air. Dead. And by the way, terrain is not going to save you when the damage numbers are this high. Okay, so now we reach the naval units. The destroyer here, little brother of this guy, gonna get bullied for sure. Absolutely bullied, demolished. 100% clean kill. Maybe if you're on a reef, you'll survive that, but, yeah, don't count on it. Let's see, cruisers, dead. Unsubmerged submarines. Now, submarines do actually hard counter this, because if they're submerged, they cannot be fired upon, and they can get first strikes and actually shred this thing from under the sea. But if they're not submerged, and you happen to find a submarine for some reason that isn't submerged, and you get to fire on them and stop them, that's not a bad engagement. I mean, you're stopping your counter, which is, you know, pretty good. You take a little bit of flak back, but, you know, you're gonna win that if you get the first strike. The cannons on this thing are just unrivaled. Landers, dead. Not even reefs will save you. Battleships, straight up dead. That's 18,000 funds in this romhack. Very, very cost effective if you somehow get that. And then the mirror matchup. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a standard 55. Yes, so the 55 mirror matchup is what you're going to see here. Oh, this one was a bit unlucky, too. We only got the 5 roll. We took 3 back. But still, yeah. Mirror matchup, pretty standard. And, yeah, the Destroyer... the Dreadnought really does live up to its name. It's the freaking terrifying sea beast. And anything it touches, it basically kills. Only it left literally 3 units on this side. That's actually insane. So yeah, let's actually get into some practical applications here. So, say we have mountains on the coast with infantry in them. Mountains, or cities on the coast with a Neo-tank in it. And, like, you know, a mech on a mountain, right? The famous mech on the mountain. And then down here, we even have some scenarios with, you know, some capping guys, some guys in the woods. Yeah. Oh, by the way, this is obviously, like I said, romhack. This unit is not real, but what this romhack does is it lets the naval units traverse the rivers and coastlines, which can make for nice lakes and map making. So, map makers, just saying, naval units, please incorporate them. Anyway, let's just see what this does to capping infantry, right? Or capping mechs. Shredded. Absolutely gone. There's no remnants of them left to even find. The bodies, you just can't even find them anymore in the rubble. It's horrible what this thing can do to you. Forests are not going to save you. Yeah, this thing is just a beast. An absolute unit. And by the way, this is with no CO powers on. Flak in this romhack is a little bit special. It actually reduces your firepower. God, if I was going to show the reduced firepower, this would still be absolutely devastating. But, oh my goodness, mountains! Mountains and their 4 defense stars. Doesn't matter! You're still absolutely destroying these infantry. And mechs on the mountains, no trouble. This is insane. Honestly, this level of firepower, this justifies 25,000 funds, alright? Even a Neo-tank in a city, taking half, and you only take 1 back? I'm just saying, these things are the kings of the sea for a reason, okay? They will absolutely mess you up. So, let's switch over to our friend Andy to demonstrate the defensive components of these. Alright, so, air units, will do them last again. So, if you happen to have a tank that rolls up on this destroyer, Dreadnought. I keep getting them and their brother mixed up. So the destroyer only took, like, what, 5% from a tank? These guys are taking 1. And guess what? You're dead on the counterattack. Ah, that's terrible. Never do that. Please don't do that. You will just die on the counterattack. You're doing 5% with the medium tank. 16,000 funds, by the way. You're dead on the counterattack. Oh my god. And that's even with the high damage roll, dealing 1 whole HP to it. Neo-tanks. They come up on the shoreline. 15%. This is a unit worth just about as much money. 24,000 funds, by the way. Neo-tanks are buffed in this. Statistically anyway, but their price got also increased. This is unfathomable amounts of armor right here. And the Neo-tanks are losing on the counterattack hard. Like, this is insane. Now, these guys have to have weaknesses, right? Like, you can't just have an unkillable unit who, who rules the game, because that would make for a really unfun gameplay. All you'd see is these guys floating around the seas, taking lives. But no, so they have two main weaknesses, right? So there are reasons why you shouldn't deploy these on certain maps, obviously, where there's no water, duh. And also on maps where the coastlines don't matter, maps where you see high amounts of air units and artillery also, because I'll tell you, these guys are... Well, honestly, I was kind of wrong. I thought artillery were kind of the answer. They're a cheap, easy answer to this, but no, they only do 20%. That's really not even that much. You're still going to have quite a bit of bite after a hit from an artillery, which is worth, what, 6,000 funds? Now, if you get a group of artillery, a lot of artillery together, you're going to do some, some damage to these things, but again, they're weak to indirects in the fact that they can't immediately shred them on the counterattack. Now, if they're on the coastlines like this, yes, they can, but it's besides the point. 30% with rockets? That's not a lot, really, for, like, 15,000 funds versus this, And then, our naval units here, right? This is where the counters actually start to appear, because the destroyer itself... Okay, so this actually does 20%. For a unit worth 8,000 funds fighting this, not too bad. You're gonna at least... ship it with your, lighter direct combat naval. The cruiser, I'll tell you right now, 1%. Not a good answer to this thing. Not even at all. You're just going to get destroyed. And the submarine, this is actually like the true counter to this thing, because you can dive this thing, make it invulnerable to it, and then fire with torpedoes that deal 55%. Now, if you get the first strike and you're for some reason not submerged against this thing, you'll still come out, I'd say, in the lead, especially funds-wise, because this submarine only costs way less than half of the Dreadnought, and you're still going to be kicking afterwards. So, if you for some reason have to take a shot with the sub that's unsubmerged, you're not going to be losing everything. It will be okay. But, again, submerge your subs when you're fighting these things. They're very dangerous. So, battleships will actually do 35, so that's not bad, but it's also really not going to kill these things. I'm surprised. Like, we got lucky there. It's only still in 4 HP. Dreadnoughts their armor is ridiculous, actually, I gotta say. Now, again, like, and yeah, the mirror matchup here is actually going to hurt it quite a bit, 55%. There's a very lucky mirror matchup, too. An 8-4. So this is how you're going to beat Dreadnoughts. With other Dreadnoughts, with submarines and groups, really, you can swarm them down with subs, and that will easily finish them off. And battleships chipping away at them. Indirects. This is how you want to combat Dreadnoughts. If your opponent sends one out for some reason, and you need to counter it, indirect, submarines, and then other Dreadnoughts are also going to deal quite well with this. And also, air units. Since it can't counter fire on air units at all, air units are safe to just take free shots. And, battlecopters aren't going to do much because they are far less pricey than them. But bombers, 40%. That's not too bad. And it's a safe engagement. And bombers actually did get a price nerf, so, they are price buff, my bad. They're much cheaper, so it makes sense that they, balance-wise, wouldn't one-shot them. Because if you're putting all your investment into a more, into a less mobile, completely insane, sea unit, you don't want it to just get upstood by a bomber, because bombers are obviously really good. No doubts about that. But yeah, so bombers are another good way to counter the Dreadnought safely. These things are an absolute terror of the seas. Do not sleep on the Dreadnought. If you see one coming up your shoreline, secure your units. Make sure they're off the shores. Counterfire with artillery. Make sure that you are not leaving your coastal areas exposed to these things. And I will tell you, I think the best users of these dreadnoughts are COs that increase movement range. So I'm talking your Drakes, especially I'd say your Adders, who can burst movement increase these things and get the jump on, maybe things that are sitting on the coast, just a little bit outside of your normal movement range. That you're like, oh, I don't have to worry about that little destroyer, or dreadnought on the coast. I don't need to worry about it. It's not a concern. And then all of a sudden, it's knocking at your doorstep, blasting your Neo tank to bits. That's something you gotta worry about. So yeah, movement increases are definitely good for these things, because 5 movement around water is really not that good. You're on par with battleships, another slow, very powerful, tanky naval unit, but this thing is direct combat, which means movement is much more important, because you need to get these things out on the front lines, which is a little tough when you're a naval unit. So I would say this thing's weaknesses are definitely the fact it can only move on water, so it's not very easy to traverse things. Yes, and then the fact it's weak to air, weak to indirects, but honestly, what isn't in this game? And subs. Subs are big, cost-effective counter to this thing. Subs are the big counter. But this thing's strengths are innumerable. Many good engagements we just saw today. So, I will leave you with that. That's enough blabbing about this Dreadnought unit. It is incredibly powerful. Do not sleep on them. If you need something that will wreck your opponent's shoreline defenses, you've come to the right place. So, if you like this video, please leave me a like. The channel is dying. Even as we speak, if I somehow get the second video out to you guys, maybe it's not dying anymore. I think it probably still is. Let's hope. But anyway, yeah, if you liked it, leave a like. Subscribe if you want to stick with this content. I hope to be posting a few more of these. And, yeah, I guess I'm out of here, See you later, guys.